Leah Shields, First Coast News, on your side. Yelling cheers out their window, people honking. So the mood has considerably changed here since the news of the manhunt ending. Looks like this afternoon. Actually, we're looking at 3 of the search boats right now. 4 people are going to be paying attention to this, looking for their loved ones in this. This is rush hour in Jacksonville. And look at this cell tower, I believe it is. You got crews working on it. It might be hard to tell, but that is part of a roof. Your learning opportunities are over. Hey. Down here, you're looking at the Dames Point Bridge. You're seeing that congestion. That's because northbound, the rain is somewhat let up, but look at this yellow flag just whipping viciously there. Yeah, there's a southwest wind, so all of that combined creates quite a hazy drive. Dark and early and cold. We're starting the short work week. You get gas. You get gas. Everybody gets gas this morning here. We have seen a tree go down in this area of I-10. It lights up overnight, sometimes highlighting special events. But the blue light, it's a heavy burden to remember. These pages carry the weight.
Richard Stern was my great uncle. He was a hero for the German army in World War I. He was a protester against the Nazis, and then he was a hero for the American army in World War II.
Retired Rabbi Jack Romberg is preserving the life of Richard Stern, a German Jewish soldier.
And he was on the front line, especially in a series of battles from February of 1918 almost until the end of the war.
His bravery earned an Iron Cross in World War I. Then his country turned on him.
So it was in early 1933s that the Nazis actually took over the government, and they decided to do things against the Jewish people because they hated the Jewish people, and they were going to do things to suppress them.
It began with a boycott of Jewish businesses like Stern's. In this photo, Stern, a veteran, stood next to the Nazi in protest, wearing his medal.
Not afraid to do this. He was standing up for the rights of the Jewish people.
Years later, he fled to America for safety. World War II broke out later that year. Stern had a fight left in him. Not even a citizen, he joined the U.S. Army in 1942.
Uncle Richard's company was surrounded by German machine gunners, and he stood up in the line of fire, and he talked to them about stopping the shooting, and that if they didn't surrender to the Americans, they would all be killed.
He spoke the same language as the Nazis, and they surrendered. Stern received the 3rd highest medal from the U.S. Army.
What Uncle Richard's story teaches us is that you should not be thinking of yourself. You have to be thinking about other people.
His story is history, cataloged and remembered. This is where Governor Ron DeSantis was set to have a press conference. It's a public building, but when members of the public tried to attend, an activist was handcuffed and put in a JSO cruiser right out here. The room was set up for a news conference. Members of Northside Coalition, Take 'Em Down Jax, Florida Rising, and Harriet Tubman freedom fighters sat down alongside journalists, waiting for the governor to show up. He hadn't yet when this happened.
We're here to hold the governor accountable.
Yes, we are.
But there are proper ways to do it.
What's the proper way, sir? Not to follow our First Amendment rights?
This man identified himself as Alex Cronin with DeSantis' office. Ben Frazier, president of the Northside Coalition, physically stood up to defend what he says is his constitutional right to be there.
You too are an enemy of the people. Yes, sir, you are. You're attempting to stop us from gathering peaceably in a public building. That, sir, is appalling and absurd.
The facility manager threatened to kick out anyone but credentialed media on the grounds of trespassing.
What's so private? We don't allow the members of the public to come to the press conference.
This is how it ended.
It's just incredible to me that, you know, like that's how swift the crackdown is for anybody that dares to speak anything different against the governor. The governor basically just discrediting once again the public, the community.
The governor's staff members did offer the activists to have the governor meet with them at a separate time, but the activists I spoke to tell me this has been offered before and it's never happened. In Jacksonville, Leah Shields, First Coast News, on your side.
This is so beautiful. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh, this is magical to be out here today.
So we drove down all the way from Grand Rapids.
Beneath the surface of Florida's waterways,
They're beautiful.
a crisis.
I'm in love with them.
Manatees dying at a record rate, 1,100 dead in 2021. Double the average. They're starving to death.
There isn't enough food near the warm water source. They're faced with either starving or going further in the cold water to feed, and that's where they get cold stress.
It's been declared an unusual mortality event and means more manatees ending up here at Jacksonville Zoo's Manatee Critical Care Center. Craig Miller says they've treated more in the past year than ever before, and they're full.
So we had animals that they were starving last winter and never really recovered through the warmer months.
As the manatees huddle for warmth in the winter, crowds huddle to see them, taking for granted the sight of clear waters, unaware of the manatees' murky future.
We are at a critical moment.
We're at Blue Springs State Park, and right now there are a record number of manatees here just within reach of us. It's a glimmer of hope, but experts tell us moments like these are fleeting. Their habitats and their food sources are being destroyed.
If we do not turn around the health of these waterways that will foster regrowth of these important grasses, we are going to lose our manatee population.
The St. John's Riverkeeper, Lisa Reineman, says seagrass is a manatee's main food source, and what's killing it is us. Pollution from fertilizers and septic tanks feed the growth of toxic algae, which then blocks the sunlight, preventing the seagrass from growing. The algae is blamed for more than half of Florida's manatee deaths last year.
Right now, the rules don't protect the river, and it's all about disposal instead of a long-term solution.
Further north on the St. John's in October, the St. John's Riverkeeper found the level of algae bloom toxins 300 times higher than the safe level for swimming. Further south in the Indian River Lagoon, the Water Management District says nearly 50,000 acres of seagrass vanished.
We need to do everything we can to help restore the food sources in the Indian River Lagoon and help relieve that population, but also prevent a crisis here in the St. Johns River.
Manatee advocates are now suing the Environmental Protection Agency, claiming when it comes to water quality standards, they're doing the exact opposite of their name. In December, an unprecedented program to save the manatees began by feeding them directly. Feeding manatees is illegal under state and federal law, but these teams have permission, distributing hundreds of pounds of romaine lettuce near this Cape Canaveral power plant. State wildlife officials say the manatees are eating, but it may not be enough. Despite the rescue efforts, more than 260 manatees have died through the second week of February.
We can all do our part, but we also have to hold our government to their part to make sure there's sustainable long-term policies and that we prevent pollution and maintain water in our systems.
When you dive deeper, it becomes crystal clear.
It's not just about manatees, it's about the entire ecosystem. And if we're saving the ecosystem, we're really saving ourselves.
In Blue Springs State Park and Jacksonville Zoo, Renata DiGregorio and Leah Shields, First Coast News on your side.